What is up, folks? I got that fly there. Shout out, Mr. E. I did get it. Jorge Anito here. Thanks for stopping by and welcome back. My friends, today we have 3 double lifts. Unique double lifts at that. I tried to pick out 3 that are kind of lesser known. One of them I don't even think is really a thing, but it is on this video. So yeah, we're going to check out 3 really cool and unique double lifts. Lame. Hey, have I ever figured out how you gain entry into this house?
No, and you never will.
The first double lift, or double turnover rather, the first one is arguably the easiest. And this is the one that I mentioned that really isn't even a thing, at least not that I'm aware of. But it does play off something that we're familiar with. So anyway, it looks like this. Just that right there. And the action of throwing the deck to the other hand, you're holding back one card, turn it over, and yeah, wouldn't you know, that's it. And it plays off that idea of you have a sandwich like this, right? We're all familiar with this sandwich. There's a card. But instead of using it as a sandwich, I thought, wouldn't it be cool if you could just use it as a double lift? And it's kind of the same idea as the double deal, which is like this. In the action of turning over the top card, you're dragging up the bottom card along for the ride. So the cool thing about this one is you would think that once you're in this position, you would see that the cards are splitting, but you're not giving the spectator or the camera even really enough time to register really what's happening because of just the constant movements. And the more that you practice this, the more that it becomes easier to coalesce. Let me show you what. I'm going to slow this down quite a bit, but essentially what you're doing is just pinching the deck and you're throwing the deck into this other hand, retaining the top and bottom card. When you're in that position, it's just as simple as kind of pulling these cards together. Now, obviously, this is a weird look, but like I said, this is done all in a fluid, one big continuous fluid motion, and it's pretty easy to get away with. I've done this for a few people, and it flew right by them. But yeah, once you have these cards in your hand, it's just as simple as I use my pinky or my ring finger sometimes as a rail to kind of coalesce everything really fast. It looks weird when it's slow, but there we go. Like that. And like I said, it's just in the action of turning the card over. Just like that. And that is, I call it the flying double, but heck, I don't know what it is, man. It's just something I kind of figured out. Let's get on to number 2. Coming in at number 2 is the Domico turnover. Yeah, it looks just kind of like that. You're getting a double with your thumb, you're flipping it over, and yeah, that's it. Big Hands, the channel Big Hands, I'll leave a link in the description. He has a couple videos on this as well. So, yeah, not stepping on his toes, I will link you to his videos. You could check them out, see what he has to say about it. My only contribution is one single nuance that I've added to it just to kind of help me out where I have small hands, so there's that. But the Domico double lift or double turnover was created by a guy named Carmen D'Amico. He hung out with the likes of Ed Marlowe, Arthur Buckley, those guys, small fish. Right, so I learned it from Arthur Buckley's book, Card Control. And Carmen D'Amico himself taught Mr. Buckley, so I'm going to teach it to you exactly how it's taught in this book by Carmen D'Amico himself. And I'm going to share with you that little nuance that I do that kind of helps, because it is a weird move, right? And maybe you've seen Ed Marlowe. There's videos up where he's doing the Domico one-handed second. This is kind of the same thing, very similar actions, but let's go ahead and get into it right now. This is a one-handed, apparently single card turnover, and it's just a flourishing move, and it's kind of like that. This is just with one card, right? It's just kind of a flourishy way to turn a card over one-handed. And maybe I should go ahead, maybe I should have said this at the beginning of the video, but these, I'm not saying are by any means conventional, even practical, probably unorthodox. And I don't know if I would even perform these. Well, I did do the one in front of some people, but you know, they're really not that practical, but they are super fun to perform, and they're created by some of the greats. You know, at least the last two moves. That first one is kind of weird, but hey. So there's that. And like I said, this is just a flourishy way of turning over apparently one card. So what you'll want to do is start in a, I think this is dealer's grip. What's the difference between I think that's mechanics. This is dealer. So you'll want to start with the grip where your index is kind of going up the front. You're getting a double from your thumb, and from here, you're picking up the double. Now, Arthur Buckley teaches to, at this point, move your middle finger to this corner of the deck, and I believe that's to steady everything. So he does that. Now, in that action, your index finger is pulling down and toward the thumb, so it's kind of like this. The action is kind of like this that's happening. That's the action that turns over the card right here. So my added nuance is when I'm in this position, I have the card held like this. I take the index and I push that deck back just a little bit, and then I go into the flipping action, and that just helps with this corner to clear right here. And you know, I realized that once I had this down, I really didn't need to do that. But that is a little added thing that if you're struggling with this move, try that out, and that should help you. So that was the Domico double. Coming in at number 3 is the flip centered double, and it looks just like that. This is a move created by Dan and Dave Buck. It was released on their Trilogy, and I think they had it back as far as some lecture notes in like 2007. I could be wrong, but it's definitely taught on the Trilogy, and something you don't see that often at all. When we hear center double, for me, the thing that I think of is one of these things right here, right? But this, the double starts out on top, and then the double goes directly to the center. So it's a weird move. There is application for it. I mean, how many times have we needed to stick a double in the center of the deck? There are some color changes for that. There's something very specific. A few things that Dan and Dave do with it, like the goat change. But let's go ahead and get into the flip center double right now. You're starting with the deck in hand mechanics grip, and you kind of want to bevel the deck this way, right? Because you're going to want to get it. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but because you're getting a pinky count from this position, you're picking up at these corners. Now notice my thumb has this card pinned down. That's going to be important because what's going to happen is you're going to come down the side of the deck and insert it just like that. Super easy, super simple. There's nothing hard to this. Again, cards in mechanics grip, you get a pinky count. You pick up at opposite corners while this thumb has the card pinned down. Essentially what you're doing is riffling down the deck, but that card is going along for the ride. And about halfway down, that is when you're rotating this card in the center of the deck. Right, from here, you can grab, I grab kind of like a straddle grip, right? And you could do, you know, whatever for that flash there. But so again, mechanics grip, pinky count 2 cards, coming in, you're picking up at opposite corners. As you're picking up, the thumb starts riffling down, and you don't even really have to riffle. You could just break off about half the deck, and you're really just inserting the card like this. Now notice how the card is just kind of flipping and whirling around. Once you're in this position, just let it go, right? And from here, you know, you could do all sorts of things. You can steady it around the front if you're going to do that one color change. I'm not sure what that one's called, but anyway, that's the flip center double. Guys, I really hope you enjoyed this, and I hope that you enjoy your Independence Day weekend. I know I will. I'm going to check out some fireworks. Me and Addie, we're going to have a good time, cook out, all the rest. So, there you have it, guys. Jorge Anito here, signing off. As always, be blessed.